There's something about betrayal. It doesn't just sting. It leaves a mark that's hard to explain. Maybe it was a friend who turned their back on you, a partner who ghosted you after promising forever, or someone close, family even, who twisted your kindness like it meant nothing. You replay it in your mind, don't you? What you said, what you should have said, what you wish you could say now. You think, maybe if I show them I'm doing better, maybe then they'll regret it. Or worse, maybe I'll show them what it feels like to be broken. Yeah, I've been there too. That anger, it simmers. It doesn't need fire to burn. It just lingers, quietly poisoning your peace. But here's something most people won't tell you. The best revenge isn't loud. It's not about one-upping them or crafting the perfect comeback. It's about becoming untouchable, unshakable, and that's where Stoicism steps in, not as a philosophy full of cold ideas or dead quotes, but as a way of life that gives you your power back without needing to destroy anyone else. This isn't about being passive. It's about being powerful in a way they'll never understand. Stoicism teaches you how to win the war without even entering the battlefield. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to turn the pain they gave you into the peace they'll never take away again. And by the end, you'll know exactly how to rise without revenge and why that might be the most badass move of all. Now let's talk about why people hurt others in the first place, and why that says more about them than it ever did about you. There's a reason why the people who hurt us stay on our minds longer than we'd like. It's because somewhere inside, we're still hoping for justice, for closure, for an apology that feels real. Or maybe just a moment where they finally understand what they did. But what if I told you don't need any of that to be free? That's what this video is about. Not the kind of revenge that wastes your energy, not the screaming matches, the I'll show them mindset, not the drama. This is about something deeper, something stronger, something that gives you the upper hand without needing anyone to say sorry. It's about stoicism, a mindset, a practice, a way of carrying yourself that turns pain into clarity and emotions into power. Now, before we get into it, I want to ask you a quick favor. If you're watching this and you've already felt a little spark of recognition, if you've ever been hurt and you're ready to grow stronger instead of bitter, then please like this video so you can help me continue spreading knowledge. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend you do so and activate the bell so you don't miss any future videos on stoicism and self-improvement. All right, so what exactly are we diving into today? We're going to talk about betrayal, hurt emotional pain, but more importantly, we're going to talk about how to handle that pain in a way that actually builds you, not breaks you, because the truth is, life doesn't give us control over what others do, but Stoicism teaches us something better. It teaches us control over how we respond, and when someone hurts you, your reaction, that's the battlefield. That's where your power lies. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to guide you through why people hurt others, what Stoicism really is, and the exact mindset shifts that allow you to take back your peace without saying a single word to the people who wronged you. You'll learn how silence, focus, and inner peace can do what revenge never could. So let's begin this journey by understanding the people who hurt us and why they do it in the first place. Ever wonder why people treat others like crap, even when they've done nothing wrong? You ever sit there and just wonder why they did it? Why someone you trusted, someone you gave your time, your energy, your heart, could turn around and treat you like it meant nothing? Yeah, that question hits hard. The truth is, most people don't hurt you because of who you are. They hurt you because of what's broken inside them. Some people lash out because they're insecure. Some betray because they crave control. And some, they just don't know how to love anyone, including themselves. It's wild, right? How people will project their own inner mess onto someone who only wanted peace. But that's the key to remember. When someone hurts you, it says everything about them and nothing about your worth. Their actions aren't a reflection of your value. They're a reflection of their chaos, their fear, their inability to deal with life in a mature, honest way. I know that doesn't take away the sting, but it does help you separate their mess from your peace. You don't need to carry their darkness with you. You don't need to become bitter just because they were broken, because once you understand why people do what they do, you start to realize something powerful. It's not personal, even when it feels deeply personal. And when you stop taking it personally, you stop needing revenge. You start craving clarity instead. And Stoicism gives you that. Let me ask you something. Tell me in the comments, have you ever found yourself wondering what made someone treat you that way? Did it eat you up inside until you realized it wasn't even about you at all? Now, let's go deeper into how Stoicism helps you deal with all of this. Not by ignoring the pain, but by facing it head-on with wisdom and control. Because if you're ready to stop letting people live rent-free in your head, you're going to want to hear what's coming next. So let's clear this up. What is Stoicism really about? Because it's not what most people think. All right, let's clear something up right now. Because when people hear the word Stoicism, they usually imagine someone cold, unfeeling, robotic, maybe even emotionless. But that's not Stoicism, not even close. Stoicism isn't about pretending you don't care. It's not about being numb or shutting down your emotions. It's about learning how to feel without being ruled by those feelings. That's the difference. A Stoic still feels pain, still feels anger, still feels hurt when someone disrespects them. But they don't let that pain make their decisions for them. Imagine this. You're standing in a storm. The wind is wild, the rain is pouring down, and everyone around you is panicking, yelling, screaming, blaming, reacting. But you're still calm, grounded. That's Stoicism. It's emotional strength in the middle of chaos. It's self-control, not self-denial. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers and an actual Roman emperor, wrote to himself daily, reminding himself to stay calm, honest, and humble, even when people betrayed him or lied to his face. He could have crushed anyone who wronged him, but instead he mastered himself, because that's what Stoicism is really about: mastery over yourself, not control over others. Seneca, another Stoic, said it best: "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Think about that. How many times have you replayed an argument in your mind, over and over, getting angrier every time, even though it was already over? That's what Stoicism helps you stop. It teaches you how to stay present, how to recognize your triggers without letting them run your life. And Epictetus, one of my favorites, he was born a slave. He had every reason to be bitter, but instead he chose to focus only on what he could control: his attitude, his actions, his values. That's the heart of Stoicism. It's not about silence as suppression, it's about silence as power. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you know not everyone deserves a reaction. And let's be honest, in a world where people are constantly reacting, freaking out, trying to get the last word, the person who doesn't flinch, they stand out, they win. Stoicism helps you become that person, not by turning you into a statue, but by reminding you that peace is a choice, and no one can take it unless you hand it to them. So if you've ever felt like your emotions were driving the car, taking you places you didn't want to go, it might be time to grab the wheel. And Stoicism, it'll teach you how. Now let's start walking that path together, because next we're going to break down how you can apply this in real life, starting with the first step in Stoic revenge. Control what you can and let go of what you can't. Here's the first step: control what you can and let go of the rest. So here's the first rule of Stoic revenge: control what you can and let go of the rest. Sounds simple, right? But when someone hurts you, your first instinct is to try to fix it, to make them understand, to make it fair. But here's the harsh truth: you can't control their guilt. You can't control whether they regret it, or if they ever even realize what they did. And the more you try, the more you burn yourself out chasing something that's not yours to hold. But you can control what you do next. You can control how you show up in your own life. You can choose to not let them live in your head rent-free. Epictetus said it best: some things are up to us, and some things are not. And when you finally accept that, when you stop trying to change what's already happened or make someone be who they clearly aren't, that's when peace starts creeping back in, quietly but powerfully. It's not giving up. It's letting go of the rope that's been burning your hands. So if you've been holding on to pain, waiting for something outside of you to make it better, this is your sign to shift. Because once you stop chasing control, you start reclaiming your power. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful responses to betrayal: silence, and why success is louder than anything you could ever say. You don't always need a comeback. Sometimes silence and success say everything. Sometimes the loudest thing you can say is nothing at all. You don't need a long message. You don't need to tell them off. You don't even need them to see your side. You just need to rise quietly, because silence, it makes people uncomfortable, especially when they expected a reaction, drama, rage, tears, but instead you gave them nothing, just focus, just progress, just growth. Stoicism teaches that the real win isn't in proving them wrong out loud. It's in building a life so strong, so grounded, so full, that their absence doesn't even echo anymore. You stop trying to make them regret what they did, because you're too busy creating something they'll never touch again. A stronger version of you. And here's the beautiful part: you don't have to post about it. You don't have to flaunt it. Just live well and let your peace do the talking. They might not notice at first, or maybe they'll pretend not to care, but trust me, they'll feel it. What do you think? Can silence sometimes be louder than revenge? Let me know below, because the next step, it's turning that pain they gave you into the power they never expected. Let's talk about that next. That pain you're carrying? Yeah, it can actually become your greatest power. Let's be real, pain sucks. There's no poetic way to sugarcoat it. It keeps you up at night. It replays old conversations like a broken record, and it makes you question your worth in the worst moments. But here's something most people miss. Pain is fuel. It's raw energy. And if you learn how to redirect it, you can build something powerful from the very thing that tried to break you. That's what Stoicism teaches us. Not to avoid pain, but to face it and then use it. Let me give you an example. Say someone you loved betrayed you, left without warning, or said something that cut you deep. You can sit in that bitterness. You can carry it around like a wound. You keep picking it, or you can let it sharpen you, not harden you, but focus you. You start going to the gym. You start learning new skills. You start building the version of yourself that you admire. The one who doesn't need validation or revenge. Pain becomes your teacher, your reminder, your motivator. And slowly, without even realizing it, you start rising, not to impress them, not to get their attention, but because the old you, the one they hurt, is gone. And what's growing in their place? That's your revenge. That's your power. Now let's go even deeper, because there's something even more powerful than turning pain into action. And that's learning the art of non-reaction. Let's talk about something most people miss, how not reacting can be your strongest move. You ever notice how people expect a reaction? They want you to break, to snap, to crumble so they can say, "See, I was right about them." But when you don't, when you meet their chaos with calm, that's power most people will never understand. A lion doesn't turn when a dog barks. And you shouldn't either. Stoicism teaches this truth loud and clear. You don't owe anyone your energy. You don't have to prove your pain. You don't have to explain your silence. You just need to keep showing up for yourself. You let your actions speak. Your peace speak. Your non-reaction becomes the loudest response of all. Because here's what really messes with people. When they throw dirt and you don't throw it back, you build with it. They don't know what to do with that. They wanted drama, you gave them discipline. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And that's it, that's the win. So next time someone tries to provoke you, remember, you've got nothing to prove. Let them throw stones. You're building an empire. And speaking of that, let's talk about what it really means to live well, not to show off, but to rise so high they can't reach you even if they tried. Here's what they never expect: you living well without them. They thought you'd fall apart, didn't they? They expected you to spiral, to stay broken, to become bitter. But here you are, still breathing, still building, still moving forward. And that, right there, that's the sweetest revenge of all. Not the clapback, not the angry post, not the dramatic confrontation, just you living well. You don't need to prove anything to them. But here's the truth. When you rise, their lies fall apart. They told people stories about who you were. They painted you as weak, dramatic, unstable. But the version of you that shows up now, quiet, focused, unbothered, that version rewrites everything without a single word. You're not thriving to impress them. You're thriving because that's who you were becoming all along. The betrayal didn't stop that, it triggered it, and now they watch from the sidelines while you keep building, healing, and becoming. That's real power, that's Stoicism in action. What's one thing you're focusing on to level up your life right now? Tell me in the comments. I want to know how you're turning your own story around. Because we've got more to cover, let's talk about something people often get wrong: forgiveness. And why Stoicism says it's not weakness. It's actually the final level of strength. Okay, real talk. What does forgiveness actually mean? And why it doesn't make you weak? Forgiveness. Now there's a word that makes people uncomfortable. Because when you've been hurt deeply, when someone betrayed your trust, used you, lied to you, the last thing you want to hear is, just forgive them. It almost feels like you're letting them off the hook, doesn't it? But here's the truth. Forgiveness doesn't mean they were right. It doesn't mean you're okay with what they did. It doesn't mean you trust them again. It means you're done carrying the weight of it. Because here's what Stoicism teaches us. Holding on to anger doesn't protect you. It poisons you. When you keep replaying that pain, when you keep feeding the fire of resentment, the only person who suffers is you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Let that sink in. You don't become like them. You don't sink to their level. You rise above it, quietly, steadily, with grace. Forgiveness, in the Stoic sense, isn't about approval. It's about freedom. You're not excusing what they did. You're just deciding that their actions don't get to live in your mind anymore. Think of it like this. Forgiveness isn't letting them off the hook. It's throwing the hook away, so it stops dragging you down. It's not about making peace with them. It's about making peace without them. You can forgive and still walk away. You can forgive and still never speak to them again. You can forgive and still hold your boundaries like a fortress, because you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for your own peace, your own growth, your own life. And here's the beautiful part. Forgiveness, in the Stoic mindset, puts you in control again. It says, "I decide when this pain ends." It's not weak. It's not passive. It's powerful. It's the ultimate move. You're not stuck in the past anymore. You're not waiting on closure that may never come. You gave that to yourself, and now you're ready for the tools that'll help you keep that mindset strong. So let's go practical. Let's talk about real daily Stoic habits, the ones that can help you stay grounded even when emotions rise. Let's keep it practical. Here are a few Stoic tools that'll help you stay grounded. So how do you actually live all this? How do you stop yourself from spiraling, from reacting, from falling back into that emotional storm when someone pokes at an old wound? That's where the tools come in. Simple, powerful daily practices that Stoics used, and that still work today. First up, journaling. This isn't about writing a perfect essay. It's just dumping your thoughts onto paper. The anger, the confusion, the why did they do this? Thoughts. Once it's out of your head, you can look at it with a clearer mind, not emotionally but logically. Next, negative visualization. Yeah, I know, it sounds heavy, but all it means is this. You mentally prepare for the worst, so when life throws you chaos, you're not shocked. You're ready. You imagine loss, failure, even betrayal, and in doing that you become unshakable when it actually happens. Another tool, voluntary discomfort. Doing things that are hard, on purpose. Like cold showers, skipping luxury for a day, taking the stairs when the elevator's right there. Why? Because it trains your brain to stop fearing discomfort. So when emotional pain shows up, you're not scared of it. You've practiced handling discomfort already. And lastly, focus on what you can control daily. Every morning, remind yourself, I don't control what they do, only how I respond. That mindset, that one sentence, can save you from 1,000 unnecessary emotional breakdowns. Which of these Stoic tools would you try first? Or have you already tried one of them? I'd love to hear in the comments. All right, let's bring it home, because there's one final piece of this journey left. And it's the most important part. Let's wrap it all together and leave you with something to carry forward, long after this video ends. So what now? Let's wrap this up and talk about where your real power lives. So here we are, at the end of this journey. You've heard the pain, you felt the fire, and now you know the truth. The best revenge isn't found in shouting matches. It's not in the clapbacks or proving a point. It's not even in being seen. It's in the silence, the peace, the you that rises while they stay stuck. And you know what? It's not always easy. It takes strength to walk away quietly, to choose your own growth instead of craving their attention. But now you've got the tools, you've got the mindset, and more than that, you've got the clarity. You're not here to win some petty battle. You're here to win your life, to become the version of yourself that doesn't just survive hurt, but transforms it into wisdom. Every betrayal, every rejection, every painful moment that tried to break you, it's now part of your foundation, not your identity. Just bricks you used to build something better. And if no one's told you this yet today, let me say it now. You're not weak for feeling hurt. You're strong for choosing not to stay in it. And if you ever forget that, come back to this, sit with it, breathe with it, let it remind you of what you already carry inside. If you found value in this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss future insights on Stoicism and self-improvement. And hey, leave a comment. If this spoke to you, share a moment that changed you. Because your story might be the reminder someone else needs today. Stay calm, stay grounded, and most of all, stay you. Because that's where your real power lives.